everyone keeps telling you that summer is the best time of the year. The sunshine, the beaches, the long golden evenings. So why does a part of you quietly dread it? Why do you feel more tired, more irritable, more on edge the moment the heat rolls in, while everyone around you seems to come alive? If summer makes you feel worse instead of better, you might assume something is wrong with you. That you're being negative, that you're the only person on Earth who wants to fast forward to autumn. But here's the truth: your reaction isn't random, and it definitely isn't a character flaw. There are real psychological and neurological reasons why some brains struggle when the temperature climbs. Reasons involving heat, sleep, light, and a kind of pressure almost nobody talks about. And once you understand what's actually happening underneath, that guilt you carry every June starts to make a lot more sense. So let's talk about the hidden psychology of people who hate summer and what your discomfort is really trying to tell you. Let's start with the feeling itself, because naming it matters. It usually isn't dramatic. It's a low background hum of discomfort. You wake up already warm, a little sticky, a little annoyed before anything has even happened. The afternoon hits and your energy just drains out of you. You feel restless but exhausted at the same time. And underneath all of it sits a strange layer of guilt, because the whole world is posting photos of vacations and sunsets, and you're sitting in a hot room wishing it would just be over. You start to wonder what's wrong with you. The answer is probably nothing. Your nervous system is simply reacting to conditions that genuinely make it harder to feel okay. The first and most obvious culprit is heat, and not in the way you'd think. We tend to treat temperature as a comfort issue, something you either tolerate or you don't. But heat is also a cognitive issue. Your body is constantly working to keep your core temperature in a very narrow, safe range. And when it's hot, that job gets harder. Blood flow shifts toward your skin to release warmth, your heart works a little more, and your brain quietly spends resources managing all of it. That regulation isn't free. It draws from the same limited pool of energy you use for focus, patience, and emotional control. So think of your brain like a computer on a hot day. Somewhere in the background, a cooling program is running at full power. You can't see it. There's no window open showing you the process, but it's using your battery the entire time. That's why on a sweltering afternoon, small things feel bigger. A slow reply, loud noise, a minor inconvenience, and suddenly you're irritated far beyond what the situation deserves. You're not a worse person in summer. You're a person running low on the mental fuel that keeps you calm, because a chunk of it is being spent just trying to keep you cool. Now, if you're thinking that this sounds a little like a mood problem, you're closer than you realize. Because here's something most people have never heard of. You've probably heard of seasonal depression, the kind that shows up in the dark days of winter. But there's a lesser known pattern that works in reverse. It's sometimes called summer pattern seasonal affective disorder. And for the people who experience it, summer isn't the cure. Summer is the trigger. Instead of the classic winter picture of sleeping too much and feeling sluggish, the summer pattern often looks like the opposite: trouble sleeping, a shrinking appetite, agitation, and a kind of wired, restless anxiety, a sense of being keyed up and unable to settle. For someone with this pattern, the bright, hot, endless days don't feel freeing. They feel relentless. And because the cultural story is that summer equals happiness, these people are far less likely to be understood and far more likely to be told they're just complaining. I want to be careful here, because this is a real clinical pattern, and not everyone who dislikes summer has it. But even a milder version of this sensitivity can explain why your mood dips exactly when everyone expects it to rise. Which brings us to the next hidden mechanism: your internal clock. Your body runs on a circadian rhythm, an internal schedule shaped heavily by light and darkness. It tells you when to feel alert and when to wind down. In summer, that schedule gets scrambled. The sun comes up earlier and stays up far later, and that extra light pushes against your natural signals to sleep. You lie in bed while it's still bright outside, your brain still convinced the day isn't over. You wake at dawn whether you wanted to or not. And here's the quiet chain reaction. Less sleep, or lower quality sleep, doesn't just make you tired. It thins out your emotional resilience. When you're underslept, the brain's alarm system becomes more reactive, and the part that keeps it in check becomes weaker. So you get more anxious, more irritable, more easily overwhelmed, all while being told this is the season you're supposed to be enjoying. The long days that look so beautiful in photos can be the exact thing quietly stealing your rest. There is another layer on top of this, and it hits some people much harder than others. Summer is loud, not just in sound, but in stimulation overall. Bright, harsh light, crowded beaches and busy streets, music, traffic, the constant buzz of activity. For a lot of people, that's exciting. But for those with a more sensitive nervous system, it's a flood. Psychologists describe a trait sometimes called sensory processing sensitivity, where a person's system takes in and processes stimulation more deeply and more intensely than average. If that's you, summer can feel like being asked to live with the volume turned all the way up, all the time. The heat on your skin, the glare in your eyes, the noise everywhere, the pressure of packed social calendars. It's not that you're antisocial or fragile. It's that your nervous system is doing more work per minute than the people around you, and it reaches its limit sooner. What looks like withdrawal or grumpiness is often just a system that's overstimulated and desperately searching for a quieter corner. And then there's the part almost nobody says out loud because it feels too personal to admit. Summer comes with a script. You're supposed to be out. You're supposed to be glowing and social and adventurous. You're supposed to show your body, wear less, and feel confident doing it. Every ad, every feed, every conversation seems to carry the same message: this is the season of fun, and if you're not having it, you're doing life wrong. That pressure creates a very specific kind of pain. Psychologists talk about social comparison, the automatic way we measure our lives against everyone else's. And summer is social comparison on overdrive. You scroll past 100 people at the beach, laughing, tanned, seemingly effortless, and some quiet voice in you asks why you can't just be like that. Add in the fact that summer puts bodies on display in a way no other season does, and for many people it stirs up real self-consciousness and anxiety about how they look. So now you're not only physically uncomfortable, you're also carrying a sense that you're failing at a season everyone else seems to pass with ease. Notice what's happening when you stack all of this together. The heat is draining your mental fuel. Your sleep is being quietly disrupted. Your senses might be overloaded, and on top of all of it, you feel pressured to look happy and grateful while it's happening. That's not one problem. That's 4 or 5 different pressures arriving at the same time, wearing the same sunny disguise. Of course you feel worn down. The surprising thing wouldn't be that you struggle. The surprising thing would be if you didn't. So let's reframe the whole thing. Hating summer doesn't mean you're negative, ungrateful, or broken. It means your nervous system is responding honestly to heat, disrupted sleep, sensory overload, and social pressure, all landing at once. Every nervous system has a season where it breathes easiest, and for you, it simply isn't this one. That's not a flaw. That's information. And once you see it as information, you can actually work with it. Start with your body before your mind, because a cooler body calms a stressed brain faster than any pep talk. Keep a room dark and cool, use it as a retreat during the harshest hours, and protect your sleep like it's the foundation of your mood, because it is. Block out the early light so your rest doesn't get stolen. If crowds and noise drain you, stop forcing the loud version of summer and design a quieter one. Shorter outings, calmer places, cooler times of day, then handle the pressure. Remember that the highlight reels you're comparing yourself to are edited, and you're measuring your real, sweaty, tired insides against everyone else's best 3 seconds. You're allowed to opt out of that contest. You don't owe anyone a loud, glowing, venturous summer. A small, calm, gentle one counts just as much. So here's the question to sit with. What if your dislike of summer isn't a weakness, but your body asking for a different kind of rest? If this helped even one part of your experience make more sense, take that as a small permission to stop fighting yourself and consider following along for more of these quiet human explanations.